Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. This is the Texas post-game live show on Bleacher Report. Tap to the Bleacher Report app. Follow me on here. Follow me on YouTube at Fanatic Perspective. Texas wins 34-31. They hold off Vanderbilt. Texas really dominated this game up at one point 34-10, multiple scores. And Vanderbilt actually fights back to cover. Texas was favored -3.5. Vanderbilt ends up covering 34-31, but Texas advances to 7-2 going into the bye week. Now 4-1 in SEC play. Texas gets their first SEC win at home. So first poll up with Arch Manning being announced late last night that he was clear for concussion protocol, getting the start today. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I expect this to be an A grade for him in particular. And I do think that's the most important thing coming out of this game is not only the health of Arch Manning, but the progression of Arch Manning. I thought he was the best football player on the field on the game in the game today. Led us, got really hot, continued a lot of the momentum we saw at the end of the Mississippi State game. A lot of complex coverages, a lot of things that were being thrown at him early and middle of the game. Early in the game, obviously, we leveraged the perimeter screens, getting the ball out quick. I thought Steve Sarkisian had a very, very good game plan to attack a vulnerable Vanderbilt secondary, going away from Vanderbilt's strengths, but also attacking a lot of the perimeter blitzes that Vanderbilt does, getting the ball out in space. It looked like the receivers were well prepared for the game plan in terms of blocking for each other, understanding we're going to get a lot of 2-on-2s, 3-on-2s. We've got to take advantage of those situations. So early in the game and middle of the game, when Arch was dissecting, able to push the ball downfield a little bit more. Reason why he had a big day and was able to get us a lot of margin today. I do think though, I know Beard Rod, you said you hate when Sark gets conservative. I think more of an issue is just the lack of ability and playmaking and clutch ability from the defense. I mean, I thought the offense wasn't painfully conservative. They got some bad luck with the Emmett Mosley, which was clearly pass interference where he didn't come down with the touchdown. And, that's pass interference. Texas has, first and goal essentially there, right? That changes. I think that really does change what this overall outcome looks like. You don't get that. And then, but one of the things that's frustrating for me beyond that, and we'll get into it here, and let me go ahead and push this one as well, because this is kind of concerning on how we finish the game from that sequence forward. You still got to play ball. Okay. Like you still have a field goal to kick. And so for all the people that were tagging me and asking, why didn't we attempt a field goal late at the end of the half instead of throwing a Hail Mary? Well, that's why the kicker struggles from range. I know he hit a 60-yarder at NRG at Texas State, but his range has been shaky from distance all season. Sark and them knew that. So when he gets an opportunity to attempt a 51-yarder, and I know he went wide on it, but it was also not it wasn't the best kick. He's been inconsistent from range. So a missed field goal then turns into a one-play 67-yard touchdown, busted coverage coming off the sideline to Eli Stowers, their number one target, one of the best tight ends in the country, somebody that the defense, KYP, know your personnel, everybody should be aware of. They give that up, right? So that bust. And then the 2-point conversion was I thought that was a miss by the rest, but at the end of the day, you're in that 2-point conversion scenario because you gave that up. So I'm not going to go straight to the refs personally when your secondary, and I understand Michael Taft did not play today. He was the one person that didn't play. He was the one person on the injury report. I understand he didn't play football today. But if I need Michael Taft to hold people's hands so they don't convert on a 4th and 19 from your own end zone, I shouldn't need Michael Taft to prevent a one-play 67-yard touchdown to Eli Stowers. I shouldn't need Michael Taft to handhold, to ID, and shade properly towards Eli Stowers on the touchdown going into halftime. This secondary absolutely stinks in situational football moments. They are not clutch, and it is going to be a problem down the stretch because it's been a problem. It's been a problem, honestly. Everybody that's been able to remotely pass the football, really starting with Cutter Boley, actually Lagway. So Lagway got what he wanted. Materno, you couldn't throw. They were frauds. Cutter Boley, let's not act like he went for what, 31 of 38 for 250. I know the points were down, but they moved the ball on our secondary. And those are games with Taft playing, by the way. You go last week, Blake Shapen almost went for 400 yards on this defense. Today, Diego Pavia went for 365. A lot of those yards, yes, in desperation, we're forcing him out of their element. We're forcing him out of the triple option. But we have got to look at this secondary and be concerned, considering our last 3 opponents are all explosive offenses that can throw the football, all of them. So as good as this pass rush is, and this pass rush is probably, top 3 in the country. I know they think they lead the nation in sacks now, and Diego Pavia was only sacked 7 times coming into today. So the pass rush and what they're doing in the front 7 is outstanding. They clearly made Vanderbilt one-dimensional. They clearly put Vanderbilt in pass first mode, pass first opportunities. That's what we want. That's what we want for Colin Simmons. That's what we want for Anthony Hill. That's what we want for Trey Moore. That's what we want for Brad Spence and Ethan Burke. And everybody was eating. But the moment that, the slightest inconvenience for our secondary, they get cooked. And I'm going to be honest, the soft zones that we play from jump turn me off. The fact that we have guys out there the only guys at corner that don't seem to be on skates most of the time is probably like Manny Muhammad. Everybody else, I see Kobe Black out there. Kobe Black's on skates. Jalen Gilbo, everybody seems to be, we have 3 or 4 people playing quarters, and he drops down like his cover 2. And we blow a coverage. We have linebackers that have trouble IDing who are the go-to guys in the middle of the field for the quarterback. Everybody should know who Eli Stowers is on the defense. If not, you have a very low football IQ. How are you not locked in? You should. It's not like they had different types of dudes out there that were able to burn us, and we're they got 4 or 5 different people. It was Eli Stowers, it was Cheryl, and I mean, come on. So the refs are not responsible for you not covering somebody at all. Multiple times, busted coverages out of timeouts. Now that leads to situations where now you need to have good officiating. And yes, the referees were blowing it there. Yes, there were misholding calls. Probably should add more sacks. But I shouldn't be relying on the refs to get a stop on 4th and 19 in my own end zone. Stop it. Because blaming the refs doesn't fix the problem with the players. You can work the refs, and we can talk about the stuff that, yes, the refs had an impact. I'm not saying they didn't. But the secondary, what about the plays where the refs weren't a problem? The secondary couldn't save their lives. They couldn't cover anybody. They weren't communicating. You had multiple times where 2 people were running after the same guy, trying to match up with the same guy while somebody else is running behind them naked. Dwayne Akina, we got a lot to clean up. I know 2005 was in the house, and great coach, but your group was ass. Dwayne Akina's group is look, if this was Terry Joseph and Blake Gideon, y'all would be all over the secondary right now, talking about how poorly coached they are. So Dwayne Akina has to wear this. I know he's a legend. I know all that. Dwayne Akina has to wear this. Those DBs looked awful today, and their confidence was shaken. And you had people on skates for God knows what reason, play after play. And look, zone is zone until you match up and have to cover somebody. Your job is not to cover grass. And we have too many guys out there in the zone, in my opinion, who just match up. They're not even matching up against anybody. They're just looking to cover grass. Oh, I'm in an area. I'm in my zone. We're in quarters. We're in a quarters look. Pass rush is balling their ass off. The pass rush was getting active, y'all. Pavia was in hell for most of today. And look, we talk about I can't. This is my problem moving forward. I can't trust the secondary. I don't know what type of officiating we're going to get in Georgia. Officiating to me is game to game, but I cannot trust this secondary. I can't. They were bad last week. They weren't. They didn't play well in the Kentucky game. They didn't play well in the Florida game. This is 4 out of 5 SEC games. The only game where they really didn't get cooked was OU. This secondary's gotten cooked pretty much every game in the SEC against people that can throw. And guess what? You have Gunnar Stockton, then you have Taylor Green, you have Marcel Reed. They all have weapons. They're all going to be able to move the football through the air. That's what they do. I'm very concerned because you're telling me that unless Colin Simmons gets home, it's a first down or a chunk play. Michael Taft being back will help some of it. But weren't we supposed to have one of the deepest safety rooms in the country? Look, let's call it out, right? Who played today? Jelani McDonald went down. That hurt. Taft didn't play. That hurt. Those are your two starting experienced safeties. Derek Williams right now looks like a shell of himself from the injury he suffered to his knee last year. He doesn't look like the same player. He's not moving the same. The comms aren't the same. And you know, I'm not blaming it all on him. He's not all the way back. But Derek Williams doesn't look the same football player. Xavier Fields to me is just not ready for showtime right now. I don't see it yet. He just doesn't look like a good football player right now. Grayson Littleton has been up and down. Grayson Littleton didn't have a good game today. This is everybody. This is why I'm now looking at Coach Akina, because I'm like, I don't see any of these young guys playing with confidence. I mean, I didn't see Phillips really get picked on. He looked like he was doing his job on the other side. Jalen Gilbo didn't play well today. That's a starting corner who's been a starter all year, multiple year starter, who's smoking coverages. This is a problem. It's a problem. We finished the game with Jonah Williams out there. And I asked for Jonah Williams to play, but I thought I was going to be in a multi-score lead effort where we didn't need all hands on deck at the end of the game. I mean, we crawled out of there. I'm thankful for the win. Don't get it twisted. Thankful for the win. Thankful for the offense coming out and really blowing this open against a good defense. This offense did their job against a good defense today. I know the run game was good today. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't, big, plays all over the place. I'll show the stats here in a second. But the throw game today with Arch Manning goes 25 of 33 for 328 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Outstanding. Back-to-back weeks with 300 yards. Arch is balling. Arch is becoming one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. He is seeing the field very well. He did a very good job for the most part. There was a couple shaky moments in there. Did a good job for the most part of protecting himself. There was one time where he slid a little late for me. But for the most part, Arch did a very good job today. Very impressed with Arch. Very impressed with Arch. And to me, that's still the biggest thing. That still gives me the biggest hope, the biggest chance. I mean, we're still, if he's gonna play like this, and now that our offensive line with Cole Hudson, which we've been asking for, let's see what Cole Hudson looks like at guard. Let's see what happens when we have our two best guards on the two best guards on the team are DJ Campbell and Cole Hudson. What happens if they're both out there? And if Connor Robertson can hold it down at center, you have your two young tackles. This is the group, this is the way forward. Clearly the best five were out there today on the offensive line. So that's good news. The offensive line stabilized today. And I'm glad because backs against the wall, quarterback is not on the injury report anymore, but we know he's coming off of concussion protocol. We got to keep him safe. There weren't any design runs for the quarterback today. Not that I saw. There were some scrambles, but there weren't any design runs that Sark had. He didn't use them like Bam Bam Sam. It's a good job. Baxter ran hard. He's still not 100% because he's not breaking tackles like that, but at least he's pushing the pile and trying to run with physicality. And he got a touchdown today. Wisner was impressive for him. 18 carries, 75 yards, workman effort. One of his better games since OU. You guys let me know in the polls how you feel. All polls are live now. What grade do we give Arch today? What was the most concerning about the end of the game? That fourth quarter was bad, y'all. Tough fourth quarter there. Vanderbilt goes 21-0 in the fourth quarter on Texas. 21-0 to finish the game. Last week we went 31-7 to finish the game. So as good as we've played for three quarters, we played as good as football as you could ask. Going into the fourth quarter, Texas up 34-10. 34-10, complete control of the football game. We know we're going to get a desperate Vanderbilt. Pavia is not going to give up. Pavia is not going to quit. Clark Lee, all these guys, Eli Stowers. But you gave up one-play touchdowns. It's not like you gave up multiple 15-play drives, right? You gave up 4th and 19 when the guy's throwing out of his own end zone. That's bad football. That's horrible situational football. And it created damn near deja vu to last year's game. Remember last year's game, we should have been up 17 points with a minute left. Kobe Black pick 6. Vernon Broughton gets called for hands to the face on the quarterback. He ends up getting suspended the first half of the next game. Pavia throws it to Stowers. They score. All of a sudden, it's 27-24, Texas. And now it's an onside kick. And fast forward a year later, here we are. Pavia gets a late touchdown, 34-31, and they're kicking onside. Parker Livingston, you're fired from hands team, by the way. That's a 100% execution job. If you can't field the ball 100% of the time, you can't be on hands team, in my opinion. No disrespect. I know you fielded the first one, but that's a 100% execution job on hands team. That we're very, very fortunate that ball rolled out of bounds. Very fortunate. Got to field that. Got to field that. The refs were awful. Nobody's refuting that. The amount of misholding calls in the game, the amount of PI by Vandy DBs, absolutely. I mean, but here's the thing. Good football teams don't put themselves in situations to where they got to fish for refs to help out or rely on refs. The officiating was bad all day. Why wasn't it a factor until the end? Because Texas was giving shit up too easily at the end. The officiating was a problem in the first half. The officiating was a problem all day, but it didn't impact the game too much because Texas was up by 3-4 scores. But when you start smoking stuff, now the refs matter. The refs only matter when the game's close. The refs don't matter when you're up 3-4 scores, even whether they're doing their job or not. Yes, they smoked the 2-point conversion. That guy did not get the ball past the goal line. I don't care what anybody says. There's no angle they showed on the TV review where he got the ball past the goal line. Period. I don't know how that was upheld. I don't know what the guy on the goal line, what the official on the goal line saw to allow that, but it happened. But my point is, you shouldn't have been in that situation to be giving up a 2-point conversion. That's your fault. The refs are only a factor because you allowed them to be a factor. If you don't allow Eli Stowers, the only person that can really kill you, to run naked free for a 67-yard touchdown, we're not talking about no damn 2-point conversion. It's only a problem because you allowed it to be a problem. If you handle your business, we're not talking about the refs. The refs can only be a factor if you allow them to be a factor. Don't smoke a coverage. It's quarters on first down coming off a timeout, and you busted a coverage. That's your fault. You put yourself in that position. You put yourself in that position, Texas. Quarters means 4. You get 3 people of the quarters playing quarters coverage and 1 person on a different sheet of music. That's your fault. Why do you think Sark snapped on the defense at the end of the first half when the game was a 2-score lead? It was 24. What was it? 24. Yeah, it was 24-3, right? We gave up the touchdown to who? Stowers. Before halftime. Sark lost his mind on the defense then. And he said it at halftime. How do we blow a coverage coming off a timeout? How do we have broken comms coming off a timeout? I need to hear from Dwayne Akina this week. What's going on with the group? Why are we not on the same sheet of music? Why are guys not IDing certain personnel? Why are we busting on their best? Like, imagine somebody just giving free release to Ryan Wingo down the seam. We don't. How often do we get those type of looks where we're facing somebody and their safety in their corner run after Jack injuries and just leave Parker Livingston wide open? That's essentially what we were doing on defense in the last 15 minutes of the game. It's not just that it was 4th and 19. It's 4th and 19 while you're in your own end zone. The secondary is going to hold us back if it doesn't get. I don't know if it'll get fixed. Michael Taft coming back helps. Yes. Will they be better pre-snap with Michael Taft? Absolutely. Will he help clean up some of that stuff? Absolutely. Will Jelani McDonald being back help? I don't know what Jelani McDonald's injury status is. He didn't finish the game. So both of your safeties, both your starting safeties were gone. The injuries definitely played a factor. But this was promoted to be one of the deepest safety rooms in the country. You have guys out there big time billing as recruits that aren't ready to play. Xavier Phillips to me was allegedly a 5-star. He couldn't tackle. He couldn't do anything. He had a horrible game. Again, I'm talking straight ball. I'm not trying to kill the kid or anything like that. He was not ready to play. He doesn't look ready to play football at this level right now. His confidence is in the toilet. Period. Derek Williams looks like a shell of himself. Doesn't look like the same football player pre-injury. Doesn't. They don't talk. And when they do talk, people are running into the same people. Jonah Williams came out there the very last drive. I know he's probably if he can fly around and do more and play with better confidence, great. Grayson Littleton, I don't see the same confidence even he had earlier, but he was playing a lot more man earlier. So I don't know what's going on. But that's why I'm saying it's a group issue. It's not one person. Kobe Black, half the time when he's out there, he's on skates. Find me some DBs that can play technique confidently and talk. Because here's the thing, when Michael Taft was present, we still were getting cooked by Florida. We gave it up yards wise versus Kentucky. We didn't give up points, but Cutter Boley was slicing and dicing this defense. He completed damn near 75% of his passes. Last week, Blake Shapen went for almost 400 yards against you. Back-to-back weeks, you have allowed 350 yards plus of passing yards against two completely different schemes, by the way. Two completely different schemes. Both weeks you gave it up. Now, both weeks you didn't have Taft. I get that. But when you had Taft versus Florida, you still gave it up. When you had Taft versus Kentucky, you were still giving it up. The secondary is an issue. And it sucks because it's now a loud issue when the offense has been an issue. And that's like, and feels like we're finally turning the corner with the offense. We're getting stuff together. The quarterback looks as good as he's looked all season, and now we can't cover anybody. That's frustrating. But at least we have stuff we can work on and fix during the bye week because hope is still alive. We are 7-2. All of our goals are still in front of us. We now get to be road dogs, road warriors one more time, going to Athens. We have 2 weeks to get ready for Georgia. Georgia's going to have 2 football games. We're going to sit back and watch. One here today versus Florida, the next one versus Mississippi State next week. And then we go there and hopefully we have a revamped secondary because this pass rush deserves better. Colin Simmons deserves better. Anthony Hill deserves better. Y'all on the back end got to cover, man. Trey Moore deserves better. Ethan Burke deserves better. The defensive line and everybody that plugged and made this game one-dimensional, they made it easier for you. They took away the run. And we allowed Vandy to hang around for no reason. 2 years in a row. That's frustrating. It also speaks to Vandy's character and heart, and why they're so good in situational football moments. I give them credit, but 10-7 Florida right now, by the way. Simmons and Hill Jr. and Michael Parsons 2.0. No, they're incredible. They completely got Vandy out of everything they wanted to do today. Completely got them out of it. So, look, we're going to have a chance if this offense, if we the key with Georgia when we go down there is if we're going to be able to run the football, because Arch has found his stride with him at Mosley. We'll see the health of Ryan Wingo in his hand. It looks like his thumb is cooked with this, which is unfortunate because obviously his athleticism opening the game today with a 75-yard touchdown was spectacular, and the things he's been able to do the last 2 weeks, the growth that he's had as a playmaker the last 2 weeks has been incredible in alignment with Arch. So we'll see what happens with Wingo the next couple weeks. If what the severity of that injury is, again, the thumb did not look good for him. And it was frustrating to see how many guys were going down as well as we were playing for a bulk of this game. It did seem like guys were dropping like flies. But Emmett Mosley, man, and I tweeted this earlier. What if he was healthy the whole season? What would this thing look like? If Emmett Mosley had been healthy the whole year, maybe this offense is a little bit like, it's not a coincidence that as Emmett Mosley has gotten more reps and more integrated to the offense has gotten more consistent. Is that a coincidence? DeAndre Moore was consistent today. I like what I saw from him. But overall, I mean, I give credit. I give credit to Arch leading this thing. Great job. All right, let's look at stat game real quick, and then we will close off here. Longhorns 34-31. 3 quarters dominated. Dominated 75% of this football game. Dominated a big portion of for half the fourth quarter. I mean, it was 6 minutes, 5 minutes left. The Longhorns were still up 3 scores in this game. But Vanderbilt keeps fighting, gets some late touchdowns. Next thing you know, we're kicking onside, right? I mean, look at the scoring plays here, right? It's all Texas. It's all Texas. 17-0, 24-10 at half. Even after that Stowers blown coverage, 34-10 in the third quarter. Absolute great job coming out of halftime. So situationally there, they did a good job coming out, executing, getting stops, stopping the run, stopping a lot of the quarterback run with Pavia, making him, forcing him out of the pocket, forcing him to throw the ball away, getting sacks, getting negative plays. And then that first scramble, and all of these touchdowns just seemed really, really dicey. Like, again, not to say the officials weren't a part of this, right? The Phil Simi one where he's going out of bounds. Pavia obviously does the old school wrestling move and grabs onto him and, basically tries to suplex himself onto the sidelines. And Phil Simi gets called for a 15-yard penalty. But if you look at the replay, it's obviously Pavia tricks the refs. Get it. But that scramble down the sideline, right? Like, we've played good ball for 3 quarters and then we give that up. Cheap. Right? We just have these horrible busts. Horrible. And even that one, the next touchdown, look at the time on this, guys. The next touchdown doesn't come until 4 minutes left in the game. It was still 34-16. 5 minutes left. It's still 34-16. All the way through. We have the ball. We miss that's what I'm saying. This sequence was nasty work. We miss a field goal and immediately give up a one-play 67-yard touchdown. That can't happen. I don't want to hear about refs right there. I'm sorry. That can't happen. Was the 2-point conversion bullshit? Yes. It shouldn't have been attempted. And then we give up a 99-yard drive after the punt. A 99-yard drive, including a 4th and 19, to make this thing 34-31 where they're kicking onside. Got to be better than that. Got to close better than that. And thank goodness for the bye week to get to, because now Texas can't even be overconfident. You take the win. You're thankful to be 7-2. You're thankful to still have all your goals in front of you. You just gotta win versus a top 10 opponent. Resume builder. Regardless of how you feel about Vandy, I told you guys coming in, I like this matchup. Thought it was a great matchup for Texas. I'm very disappointed with how this game ended because this should have been a belt to ass. I can't even break out the belt. This is now belt to ass worthy performance. The first 3 quarters was, the last quarter was not. And because of that, we can't break out the belt. As good as Arch played, I'm not putting any of this on Arch and them, because even in the fourth quarter, they actually bled out a lot of clock. They really did. So I'm not blaming Sark for being conservative when your defense gave up a touchdown in one play for a whole drive and your defense giving up 99-yard drives. That's no longer on the offense. Get a damn stop. You're supposed to be one of the best defenses in the country, PK. You're supposed to be one of the best secondaries in the country, Dwayne Akina. Coach these boys up. Get them on the same page. Why are we reading off different sheets of music? Run game today, like I said, good job. I mean, the numbers aren't super sexy, but this is productive for us because they were just able to move the chains. Emmett Mosley was huge today. DeAndre Moore, solid game. Screen game was good for us today. Both perimeter screens and running back screens were good. We clearly showed a lot of improved physicality on the perimeter. I thought we did a better job with penalties ourselves. Last year, we were heavily penalized in this game. Heavily penalized. Colin Simmons, I think now is up to 8 sacks on the season, so he's 2 away from 2 sacks away from double digits. First time we've had people in double digits at Texas since Ced Reed and Jackson Jeffco back in like 2012. So we're pretty close there. Anthony Hill continues to have a great season. Trey Moore, I told you guys he'd be good today. Patrick Davis on Open Gym, when we were on there, he said Ethan Burke would have a big game. He was huge today. Brad Spence is super underrated. So a lot of guys on defense in the front seven that played very well today. And not to mention that's despite the lack of holding calls and things there. But I mean the stats end up evening out with what happened in that fourth quarter. We ended up still with more penalties ourselves. No turnovers was huge, and no sacks allowed was huge. Probably one of the reasons why we're able to hang on in this game. No sacks, no turnovers. We're going to be tough to beat. So, net, good job by Texas to get this win. I know I'm frustrated with the fourth quarter. I'm frustrated with the secondary, but we have 2 weeks to talk about that as we get ready for Georgia. But at least we are in a position where everything is still in front of us at 7-2. Let me know in the comments how you feel about today's game, how you felt about Arch. Remember the different polls here. What grade do you give Arch Manning today? I give him an A. I thought he was outstanding. I think he's playing his best football this season. I think he's growing. I think he's seeing the field in a great way. And I think it was very encouraging for him to play at a high level today, coming off the momentum of last week's comeback. I think he continued that party. He makes me I feel really good about him going into the bye week. Obviously, what are we concerned about the most? MVP today, I got Arch, but Colin Simmons, I mean, the play he made on Pavia to start the game, getting that turnover was huge. Great job by him. And then where do you guys think we'll finish? Looks like a lot of people are at 9-3, which means only one more loss, and you basically have a score in 2-1 down the stretch. So, yeah, let me know where you got us. Appreciate everybody tuning in for today's post-game show. Texas beats number 9 Vanderbilt, 34-31 at home, advancing to 7-2, 4-1 in the SEC. We are going on a bye week next week, but we will be back November 15th. November 15th versus the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. Guys, remember, horns always up. Hook 'em.